Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had a lot of questions. How do we record an episode? How do we get our show into the apps that people like to listen to, like Spotify and Apple Podcasts? How do we make money from our podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. So, if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Everything fucking sucks, but not champagne. You're the one who has to hit the intro.
Bubs, you ready? Bubs says she ready.
Now she ready to sleep.
Yeah, no, she ready to go. All right, well, fuck it.
Let's go.
Uh-oh!
Hey.
I love that shit. I'm starting to dig that little intro, you know?
You be saving up your voice special
I know.
for it.
I'll be like taking big, deep breath. Yeah. What's up,
Damn.
what's up, what's up?
Hello, how are ya?
How's everybody doing today? We got episode number 5 for you. How you doing, Miss Laurie?
Hanging in there. How about you?
Oh shit, I don't even know. It just strings along every single day, you know, and then I feel just lucky and blessed just to be here with you and just to talk, you know. So, you know, here I am doing what I do.
Bubbles down in the background there.
Oh yeah, chewing on a blue and pink bone. She was ham as hell here just a minute ago.
She's settled now.
Just let y'all know, my dog will destroy some toys.
Man.
And so we got this local spot by us where we get dog food, stuff like that, and they have a pretty good selection of toys, you know, for dogs.
They have an even better selection of all natural dog foods, like really good, healthy pet food options, which is where Alton and I both shop for our dogs.
Absolutely. Well, there was a woman in there, because we took Bubbles in there, and she was just, oh my goodness, this dog is so cute. Oh, I love this dog. And so we're looking at toys, right? And I told the lady, I said, that toy right there seems pretty sturdy, but, you know, my dog would just murder that toy. She told us, she said, if your dog destroys that toy in a day or so, I'll pay for it.
She said, bring it back and I will put it on my account. I will take care of it.
I'm taking that motherfucker back.
That
because that
toy
toy got
murked.
That toy is gone. We are going to start a little section or something of nothing but photos of toys that my dog has killed.
That's right.
That they say are indestructible.
Bully-proof.
Yeah. The whole thing is, if it's squishy, if it has any softness to it.
Don't let it have a squeaker.
Oh, if it got a squeaker, it is curtains. She will sit there
It's
and
just a matter
maul
of
it.
when.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. She's
She's like the most easygoing chill. In spite of the sounds that she makes, she's actually a very, very easygoing dog. Super, super sweet and gentle. But she is on 10 when she gets access to these soft, plushy toys. Again, worse if there is a squeaker.
Hang on. Soft, plushy bed. Okay?
She has eaten 2 of my dog. No, hear me out. 2 dog beds.
2.
Have been ingested
Yes.
by this dog right here.
Yes. So
And a couple of she killed the champagne.
And
she
she
killed the
killed-
ducky.
she didn't kill the sushi.
No, she didn't kill the sushi yet.
Right.
and she killed the blue bone.
Right.
She ripped the squeaker right out of it.
I had to replace Ducky.
Ducky's been replaced.
Yep. And
he got a list he got to work down.
I got some beds I got to buy because my dog just mauls shit, you know.
Interestingly enough, she hasn't destroyed her bed, which is still a soft bed.
Nah, she ain't gonna do nothing to her bed.
She fucked my kid's
She gonna piss on yours and take a shit on everybody else and chew the motherfucker up and all that stuff. But,
she know where she rests her head at night.
But hers, you know, she petting it and, you know, trying to make sure we got Febreze sprayed on it and shit, you know.
My homegirl Maria hit me up today on Twitter after she had listened to our podcast, and she said, just so you know, Bubbles is a star of y'all's podcast.
Damn. I didn't know the dog was going to take all the shit. But
I'm not surprised. I'm not at all.
I'm not either.
We actually went to go grab some dinner at a brewery here last week, and by chance, we took Bubbles with us. Alton, we've discussed this before, is kind of new to the pet ownership world and has not always been a big fan of dogs. And so I think he was a little nervous, maybe anxious about taking her out in public.
Yeah, I agree.
He had no reason to be. She spent the entire time socializing. In fact, I think she talked to more people than we did.
Yeah, it was true. It was true. So, anywho,
there's Bubbles.
There's Bubs, and I think she passed out now.
She did.
So, yeah, we got her late in the game.
So Alton and I talked last week about the Facebook page, and we've had some awesome interactions on there. Shout out to Mikey, who has given awesome feedback and posted over there left and right. We asked you guys to share with us what your favorite scary movies were, and I think Mikey was probably the only person. The Facebook page is brand new, but she suggested Poltergeist was her scariest, and I was like, that's a good submission. That movie was scary.
If we're talking about number one, yes,
that movie was scary.
Yeah, that shit
and then,
had
of
me
course,
scared.
Half the cast died in real life.
Yeah.
Like, if you look up all the people who were acted in the original Poltergeist who died after or while filming, that's scary.
You believe in that?
Do I believe in what?
Just how weird shit be happening to people.
I believe in that.
Because they're part of something.
Fuck yeah, I believe in that. I believe weird shit happens. Do I subscribe it to, like, the devil, a demon? No,
I'm not saying that.
But yeah, I think sometimes shit is dark. Yeah. I think there's darkness in things. And I believe that if you have something that's rooted in dark and there's an awful lot of light in there, yeah, I think there needs to be some balance leveled out if you're the dark part.
Damn. If motherfuckers listening to you, there ain't never going to be another horror movie ever made again. Shit.
My bad.
Yeah. Okay.
So speaking of social medias, let's hit them up with some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we got some
I have
good
to
news.
remember to stop gesticulating.
Yeah.
I was just hitting my hand. My bad, y'all. This is
Shit.
hard. It's hard. I'm a New Yorker. I talk with my hands.
Yeah, stop slapping shit.
So finally, we are starting to get our approvals for our other locations where you can listen to us at. So I will update our Facebook page with actual live links to all of the different spaces you can listen to. But I'm going to just go ahead and read off what we're available on now.
Cool.
So you can find us on Radio Public. You can find us on Pocket Casts. We're on Breaker. We're on Google Podcasts. And we are on Spotify.
Cool.
So we're waiting on the Apple one. I know that a lot of people listen to Apple Podcasts. Are you still choking on that water?
Man,
it's been like 2 years.
I tried to drink some water, y'all, and forgot how to drink it, and had me coughing like crazy. So my voice is feeling a little raw right now. So
I think this was his sideway way of getting somebody give him the Heimlich or something.
No.
Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation or something.
No, I'm all good. I'm
okay,
good.
Just checking.
Okay.
Anyway, so if you listen to your podcasts on pretty mainstream hosts, please go ahead and find us on those. We are always available on Anchor. That is where we're at. That's our home space. But I know a lot of people are Spotify heavy, so go forth, subscribe, rate us, and please be sure to always give us some feedback. We love it. We love constructive criticism, keyword constructive. Just like you're here listening to us give our opinion, you're entitled to yours. But if you come at us with some fuck shit, we will let you know we really don't give a fuck in the end. Okay? Respect is a two-way street, and we always want to engage everything in a full, respectful way.
Absolutely.
And we understand that some of our shit talking can get a little off the cuff, and you might whole ass disagree, and that's cool. But how you come at folks is especially important, because a lot of motherfuckers don't think that they will get bitch slapped if they get caught in them streets.
Oh, damn. Put the gun away. Put the gun away, girl.
It's the days of reduction of keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
I've had a little bit of a stressful day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it. And I could kind of tell, because one of the things I know for a fact with Lori is when she gets ultra stressed, shit just hitting the fan left and right, believe it or not, she will bake. And so if I see her baking something, I'm like, oh, okay, it must be a rough day, because if she's baking, then I know it's to get her mind off of whatever the hell is going on, because she's always said that baking is that thing that she can do where she has to focus on that to make it correct.
That's right.
Because, no one wants to bake some shit and be all fucked up, right?
Well, baking is a science.
Right.
And there's a reason that things have recipes. And even though I have a tendency to go off on my own with my recipes, you understand that if you don't put baking powder and things, they don't rise. If you don't put sugar, they taste like ass. Just so y'all know, lack of sugar means taste like ass. But yeah, baking has always been my way of just getting out of my own head and focusing solely on what I'm doing, and I've heard that some people say that they don't bake well if their headspace is not good. That what comes out of the oven is as sour as whatever they're feeling. I'm the total opposite.
Right.
It's almost like I convert all of that negative energy into, this big old plate of cookies we got sitting in front of us here.
Yeah, we got a big ass plate of cookies, y'all. It's 3 rows, and basically it's called salty sweet nuts. That's what it's called, right?
I didn't name them cookies, y'all.
No, she did. Don't let her lie to y'all.
That's some bullshit.
No, she called them salty
you said
sweet
we
nuts.
had to go in rows, and I called off what the rows were,
Right.
and then he called them salty sweet nuts.
That's how she came across with them. So basically, she made some chocolate chip cookies.
I did.
That the first row had a touch of salt across the top.
A little bit of fleur de sel, which is a super, super salty, like high concentration. So you just put a few little flakes on there.
Okay, and then the second row was just sweet. So that's your regular chocolate chip cookie.
Correct.
Right? And then the third row was the chocolate chip cookie with walnuts and
a touch of
espresso in them. Okay?
Yep.
So just telling y'all the truth here, all them cookies was bomb as hell. I actually like. I like cookies with walnuts. So if it's like a chocolate chip cookie, I like the nut in it.
You like a little contrast in your texture.
Yes, and
I get it.
And so chocolate chip cookies, I like a little walnut. If it's white chocolate, I love me some white chocolate macadamia nut. I mean, those are just my absolute favorites.
Okay.
Those 2 right there. And so these 3 here, all of them were delicious. I can tell she made them with love. She relieved some stress. And I get to enjoy them.
Everybody gets to benefit.
Yeah, one way or another, But that's life is stressful as hell as it is.
That's right.
Right? Dealing with jobs and dealing with bosses and deadlines, and I don't know who the hell came up with this 5-day work week shit and 2 days off.
It should have been the opposite, really.
It should have been like a work for 3 and off for 4 or something. But I don't know who the fuck came up with that. But that's that life we're stuck in unless you're self-employed and you can kind of make things work how you want them to work.
Or you're balling.
Yeah, or you doing the do and everything you did was right, and you're making that big money and can take a lot of time off, and more power to you. But life in general,
for your average Joe Schmo,
with work, with kids, it's stressful as hell.
It's tough. It is tough.
So that's one of your ways of relieving stress. Do you have any other ways that you like to relieve stress?
I want to say wine, but then I sound like a drunk, and I'm not. And that's not a judgment. I'm saying that to be mindful, because I think that oftentimes your coping mechanisms can be dangerous if you
they can
rely too heavily on substances. But I will admit that a glass of wine, particularly a glass of champagne, I mean, you can't even say bubbly without a smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, champagne legit is that thing that I'll pour a glass of it and it almost just lifts away some of what I'm thinking about, struggling with, or worrying. Massage. I think massage is a huge way to work out stress, because you physically keep stress on your body. I keep it in my neck and my shoulders. And so I think massage is a great way to do it. Music.
Oh, yeah.
Some good pissed off music. You be in your car and as you're driving, can't nobody tell that inside you're listening to like death metal and shit, or Eminem. Same thing.
I used to say, like, sometimes a motherfucker just got to die. You know, when it comes to music, it's like, you
That's
know,
right.
to get you in a headspace of, you know, like to go, or like maybe you got to just really tone it down and listen to some jazz or listen to some classical music or something. You know, music is a tone in you, you know, and so when you listen to certain musics, for me, it definitely affects me, you know, and so sometimes I just come home and I'll turn on a little bit of music and just wind it down. Like she said, you know, I'll pour a little glass of wine, or pour me a Pliny, or you know, something that's, you know.
You ain't even share your Pliny with me today. That was cold.
Well, you wasn't around, so
I'm just
you know.
saying that was hurtful, and in continuing the trend of the difficult day that I have had, a Pliny could have been helpful. Just saying.
Yeah. So Lori was not a beer drinker when I met her. And
Not at all.
And so she would basically tell me all the information about wine. She has a fairly extensive background in wine, in cocktails, you know, and so we would go somewhere, and all of a sudden the wine list would come out, and she would just be like, oh, yes, this one right here, you know, and I'm just like, I don't know what that shit is. Okay, I'll drink it, you know, whatever. You know, and so she would basically get on the ordering of the wines. And since then, I've learned a little bit about wines and what I like and what I don't like and all that good stuff. So definitely that's one of those things. You know, something that
Wait, you were talking about beer.
So, hey, there's that thing, the last episode, right?
I'm shoving my face full of cookie while he talks about booze.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for him to be done with his story because I had to finish this cookie.
So, so beer. So, Lori is one of those people where she did not start drinking beer as like a Coors Light or a Budweiser or any of those.
Nope.
We got together and basically I introduced her to like IPAs, double IPAs, and triple IPAs.
She went big. And
then it got to the point where she's drinking like doubles and triples, and I'm just like, man, I can't even fuck with this shit. I'm cool. I'm a matter of fact, give me a silver bullet. You know, I'm gonna have a Coors Light.
Sir.
You know,
You ain't never had a Coors Light a day in your life. Not in front of me.
Many times.
And you don't even say that right. It's a Coors Light. That's how you gotta say it.
Okay, whatever.
I spent some time in Nashville, y'all.
Yeah. So I was gonna say we really can't tell, but we can't tell. But yeah, she got into drinking beer, and she actually has created a pretty good taste for it.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like good beer.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to the lighter beers. I get why people drink them. But that flavor palette never appealed to me. And it's actually quite similar to how it was with wine with me. Most people, I think particularly women, when they get into wine, they stair step through the
dessert
sweeter
wines, you know?
Yeah, you start sweet and then you move your way up. So, you know, I skip the disco wine phase. I don't drink pink. I don't mess with white Zinfandels, and I don't mess with rosés. No offense, I love y'all, but it's not my thing. I'm not into Moscatos. I'm not into any of that. I skipped Gewürztraminers and Pinot Grigios, like those really kind of sweeter white wines that so many of the ladies in my life were drinking. I went straight to those big leathery cabs, smoke and leather and all of those hints and notes that paired perfectly with big meals like steaks. I should mention, I really do not have an extensive background at all in wine. Let me be very clear. I spent a lot of years in the bartending and music business in my time living in Nashville, and that was how I learned what I learned. I worked at a high-end steakhouse, and I was a non-drinker. And actually really start drinking until my mid-20s.
What the hell?
I know. And I had a former GM, what up, Uncle Wade, should you ever hear this, who told me that a bartender who didn't drink was untrustworthy as fuck. And
okay.
But he took the time in that to teach me about the wines that I was serving people, so that I had not only, when people asked what paired with things, not only did I have the experience and skill set to make recommendations, but I also had a personal opinion. Do you know what I mean? Wine, like everything else that you put in your mouth, everything, is a matter of personal opinion. So, you know, some people really, really get down with them sweets. You know, they here for that Moscato and that Rosé. They're going to leave me foul comments in the Facebook about my disrespect and disregard. But that's just not how my palate did. And the same thing happened with beer. I like big boy beers. I like the things that most people like, damn, too heavy.
Yeah. But it's important to have that experience with certain types of wines or beers.
Yes.
And so that you understand what they're like.
Yes.
So for you to recommend to someone, hey, you want to try this kind of wine or this kind of beer with that meal.
Correct.
That's big because a lot of times when you go to a place, you ask them, what do you suggest?
Correct.
Right? And
well, a lot of the time you don't have experience with that particular wine list. There's a bunch of stuff on there you've never had.
True.
So you want a point of reference. You want somebody to give you a thought process. So all that to say, I didn't get a Pliny today. And if you know anything about beer, particularly this IPA world, you know that Pliny the Elder in particular, I think Pliny the Younger just as much, are very, very difficult beers to come by.
Every February it comes out.
I mean, I've seen folks waiting on free cheese get access more quickly than the motherfucking Pliny folk.
In the snow.
So we happen to be fortunate enough to live about an hour and a half away from Russian River.
Yeah.
And so if we really want it, we can go.
Swing out there.
We've had a few local places sell it. They have a 2-bottle per person maximum, which is hilarious. Like I said, they like dole this shit out like crack. But it's delicious. And Alton managed to come upon a couple bottles, and he ain't shared one of them.
Hell no.
And that hurt my feeling, goddammit.
Stupid. Shit. And for all you super beer enthusiasts, some of your guys are going to say, oh, Pliny's not that great.
Overrated.
Yeah, overrated. That's the one.
I've
Overrated.
heard that a lot.
Well, you know what? I love me some Pliny. So that's all that matters. And so you love what you love, we love what we love, and that's that.
Yo, but speaking of IPAs that are bomb as fuck,
yes,
things that bring you joy, coping mechanisms, that motherfucking
I know where you're going.
Enchanted Whip.
Yes,
from track 7.
Yes, there is a beer. There is a beer. It's called Enchanted Whip.
It's a double IPA.
Milkshake IPA.
A milkshake IPA.
That's what it is.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. I just know it's real good.
Yeah. From track 7, local in Sacramento. Man, that shit is off the chain. It is so good.
If you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World, you know about those Dole Whips. Those things are amazing. I stood in line for that motherfucker for like 30 minutes because they're so good. It's a very known specific flavor. Imagine that as a beer.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make that make sense because if somebody would have said that to me and I had not tried it, I'd have been like, that sounds nasty.
Right.
But feel me when I tell you that shit was bomb as fuck.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I believe it was a limited run too. So
yeah, they run it every now and then. So I don't think it's there anymore. So
tell me about some of the things you do when you're stressed out because you do have a very high stress job.
Yeah, I will admit, you guys, I have a very difficult time relaxing. I am.
Listen.
I am.
Listen.
I don't want to say I'm a workaholic, but I feel at times I am a workaholic. I work and I look at things that need to be done, and I'm just gonna make sure it gets done no matter what. And so sometimes, the person who makes the sacrifice is me. So
a lot of the times,
so I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna make it happen, and we slide into the deadline, and there it is. It's there, But there was a lot of carnage that was left on both sides of me as I went through and got it done. I've told people so many times, it's like when work comes, I get these blinders. And, I have a habit of not being able to look around and just focus on what the task is and get the task done. Well, when it comes to stepping away from that and finally relaxing and, settling down and trying to enjoy myself, if I'm gone for a week, it takes me 2 days, 3 days to finally break out of it and feel like, okay, I'm relaxing now.
To take that exhale.
Yeah, it takes me that long to do it. I would make sure, or I used to, and I just started that up again this year, was I'd go to Texas every year and go see one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. And I'd go hang out with him for 4 or 5 days.
And just check out.
And check out. And not really check out, but check the fuck out. I mean, gone. You know, I would go there, and we are going to drink heavily.
Damn.
And we're going to hang out and barbecue and hit the swimming pool, and we're going to go play disc golf for I don't know how many days straight, you know, and disc golf has always been one of my relaxers.
Bubbles is back.
Yeah, Bubbles back. She woke up and just felt like gnawing on something. And,
Hopefully it's not your table
yeah,
over
I know.
there.
It looks like it's my table.
Oh, it's the bone. It's
okay.
stuck.
And so, but I would go play disc golf. And for any of you guys who don't know what that is, it's some people just call it Frisbee golf. But yeah, you know, I played it pretty seriously for a handful of years, became really competitive. I was ranked in California at one time. I mean,
Y'all see that humble brag slide in there? Y'all catch that?
I slid in, you know. But that was one of my gigs. That was my getaway. Listening to music, you know, I'd jump in the car and just drive off and just turn up the music, you know, make some neighbors upset because their windows were vibrating and stuff. But, you know, it was all getaway stuff that was on my own, kind of secluding myself and not really having or allowing people to have access to me, you know. Another one that I absolutely love, I don't do enough, is I'd float. You know, sensory
that's a good one.
Sensory deprivation. You
That's a
know,
good
for
one.
for any of you that have not tried that and consider doing that, you know, I think it's an awesome one. Basically, you would there's establishments now. I mean, and there's a lot more than what there used to be. Trust me. This dog is just acting a fool, y'all. But there's establishments. One locally here is Capital Float, and there was
There was a spot in
float
Marysville
therapy in Marysville
that you like that I actually went to with you when I took my first float.
Yeah, and so floating is one of those things that it affects everyone differently.
Agreed.
I totally would tell everyone that they should at least try it once, and when you do go try it, try to go with a mind state that everything's not the worst. You're not leaving directly from work to go into there.
Right.
You have a little slowdown period before you get in there. And when you get in there, basically it's about 12 to 18 inches of water with 800 pounds of Epsom salt in it. Mm-hmm. And so the water is basically body temperature.
It's warm.
Yeah, it's warm. And the object is to basically shut off all sensory. So your feel,
So you're in a
your
locked
hear.
tank. It's dark. You have the option to turn on some light.
Yeah.
Very light, very mild light.
And it's not locked. It's not a locked
No. I
tank.
mean locked as in there's a door that seals you into this chamber. And I know that you went to one that was a very small little kind of,
Yeah.
like in a backyard kind of a situation.
Yeah, that was my first introduction to it.
Yeah, that's not how I did it. I ended up going to one of the local businesses that has the actual chambers, showers and all that good stuff. But so you have this tank that essentially closes off sound, light, and it. I would equate it to the feeling that you have post massage when you've completed a float. It's like the Epsom salt. I think they say it gets into your bloodstream. It absorbs into your bloodstream.
Yeah, the magnesium does.
Yeah, and so I have come out of there. I've floated twice now. Yeah, we haven't done that in a while, and
Yeah.
we need to resume that self-care. But I had the feeling of having gotten a good massage.
Yeah, but that's not the whole thing.
No, not
right?
at all. It's weird.
Because it's actually your float is a whole nother story.
Correct.
So yeah, many people have reported that, you know, they've gone in, they've gotten out of the tank, and they feel like they have gotten a full body deep tissue massage,
Yep.
right? And no one has touched them, and that's awesome. But the thing that's pretty cool is during that float, people experience different things.
Hallucinations.
Slightly, yes, because now you no longer have the sense of time. You don't have light. You don't have the sense of feeling because you're
Vision.
floating.
Mhm, that's right, yeah.
Vision.
Sound.
Yeah.
Some of them have music. Some of them are dead silent.
Right.
My very first float was dead silent.
So tell me, what was your very first float like?
My first one was, I think, You good down there, Bubbles? Okay, let us know. My very first float was different in that I experienced a dreamlike state. I experienced a feeling as though I was immersed in a place that I had been before, sounds and locations I had been before, even though, put it like this, I woke up feeling like I had just fallen asleep and had a dream. That was kind of how I felt, but I never fell asleep. You're floating in water, you know what I'm saying?
You think you never fell asleep.
Well, I guess
Right.
that's true. But one of the very first, if you want to call it a vision or experience or a dream, whatever you want to call the thing that I felt, was of being on an airplane. And if you've ever been on a plane, there's a very distinct smell once the doors close. I don't know if it's all that canned air and how they clean it. I'm not sure, but it never fails when I get on an airplane. There's a very, very specific smell that I'm familiar with, like when those the little air things turn on above head. And so I remember kind of seeing the idea of the walkway, the lighted walkway in the plane. And so it very much felt like I was sitting on an airplane. And it felt like I was sitting on one that had not been moved yet, that I was, waiting for a plane to take off. It was just very, very unusual. And then that switched into feeling like I was on a city street in New York. I heard a jackhammer. I could smell smells and hear something. It was very, very interesting. It was not scary. I never once felt afraid, but I felt like I was having dreams. Mm-hmm. Except that these dreams were very vivid and I could smell things.
It was real.
Yeah, it was very, very
real.
real. Yeah. I mean, and again, like I said, it was not scary, so it was a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah. My very first experience, I had no clue what I was really getting into. And basically, I was an instructor at a gym.
Okay.
And I had a group of people, and one of the clients said that they have one of the tanks in their backyard. And so she invited me over to, experience it. And so I went over there, and this tank, it was small, where you actually...
Like a portable tank, this one.
Yeah, it ain't very portable, though. You basically, the door opens up, and you climb into the thing, like dive in almost.
Weird.
Yeah, it was very small. And so, and you float and everything, and I was in there for about an hour and a half my very first time. And some of the weirdest things I experienced was I'm sitting there, and because it's so dark, I can't tell if my eyes are open or closed.
Right.
Right?
I mean, it really is pitch black.
Yeah, it's pitch black. I'm like, are my eyes open or closed? What's
Right.
going on? And so then I was laying there, and then all of a sudden, like in the corner of my left eye, I saw a light turn off.
Okay.
But in my mind, I know damn well that there ain't no light in there, right? It's pitch black. I just saw that light turn off, right? And so then I knew, I was like, man, that was really kind of weird. Well, then later on during the session, I start getting all these images, faces popping up in my mind,
Similar to the way you do when you dream.
Yeah, and I'm like, who the hell is this? Why is this person popping up in my head right now? And then I realized it was one of the actors in a show I had been watching just recently. Weird. And for whatever reason, his face popped up. Well, right after I saw that face, I saw my daughter standing right next to me.
Huh.
And because she was shorter than me, I put my arm up and kind of laid it on top of her head, and it made me jump because I could feel her hair hit my arm.
Weird.
And so it made me jump and kind of like startled me. I mean, there's some really kind of weird things that were happening, but it wasn't scary.
No.
It was almost like your brain just kind of takes on a whole nother thing and starts imagining or reliving things that are back in your memory, and it just feels so real.
Which I
some
think
of these
is
things.
where the relaxation portion of it is because it is a very familiar situation. And I never encountered anything that I had not seen or heard or encountered before or smelled before. So nothing was like jarring or scary.
Not a scary feeling of you like going into an unfamiliar place or something like that. Right.
Yeah. It does. It's relaxing. It's an unusual way to achieve relaxation. And I would think that a lot of people would be like, what the hell are these two talking about?
Right.
But if you ever have the opportunity to try it, just do it one time. The benefit is they run hour-long sessions. And at first I was like, this is a little too goddamn long. I don't know why I need this.
You don't have to stay in for the hour.
You don't have to stay in. But if you're a person like me who needs time to acclimate, I needed a minute before I could close that door. I wasn't comfortable just getting in that chamber and just shutting the door. I had to kind of put myself in a space to slowly disconnect from my anxieties and concerns about being, you're in a tank.
Right.
Basically naked. I mean, you can go in there in a swimsuit, but you feel me, right?
Yeah. I think that's the part we didn't touch on.
Eyes closed and you're like,
so
can I trust this?
So typically you go into this tank naked.
Yeah.
Some people will wear, shorts or something like that. But the majority of people go into the tank completely naked. You shower before you go in, you shower when you get out.
Correct.
Kind of deal. So
you don't hurt the tank up.
Yeah. And then they run the water in the tank through all kinds of filters.
They clean it, they drain it and they clean it. It's a sanitary environment. But yeah, I think that's a great suggestion for relaxation. The beach.
Yeah.
For me, that is probably at the top of the list of ways for me to disconnect and separate from the day-to-day stresses, work, family, finances, all those things. I don't have a big boy job the way Alton does, but I have a shit job. If you're my boss and listening, this is the time for you to press stop. But my fucking job is a hot dumpster fire of garbage. And so being in that space heavily contributes to
the amount of stress,
a tremendous amount of stress. So I have to check out, and going, especially particular place that I go to, the beach that I enjoy going to, there's no signal. There's no cell phone signal. You are down there and checked out. And it really is, what's that saying? That the way for anything to be improved, I'm butchering this shit, is by salt, be it tears, the sea, or sweat. That is the way to improve your mood, something to that effect. And, if y'all know that saying, you can go ahead and correct me on it. Because like I said, I acknowledge that I just fucked it all up. But that's real talk, because that goes into the next one, which is working out.
Yeah, but I'm going to go back to the beach.
Oh, okay. We're going back to the ocean.
I have to remember one of the most relaxing times that I can ever remember was a couple years ago. I went to Hawaii, and I sat on the beach. It was like, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Damn.
And I sat there on the beach, and it was pitch black. And all you can hear was the ocean. And I sat there and just listened to the waves crash. And there was something about that really made me just let go of everything. I mean, nothing mattered during that whole time I was sitting there. I didn't want to look at my phone. I didn't want to see social media. I didn't really give a shit if the house was burning down right at that time. Damn. The point was, I was away
and checked out.
I was relaxed. I was checked out. So the beach definitely is one of those that, if you guys don't get a chance to experience it, you should
get to it.
Put a little more effort into trying to get out there, and no, I'm not talking about, going to Santa Cruz when everybody's there,
And no one's suggesting Bora Bora, but if you can, you should do that.
Yeah.
But real talk, get to the ocean, sit in the sand, let the sand get between your toes, let the sun beat down on you. I was out wine tasting this weekend with some girlfriends, and it got really, really, really sunny. And we've had Bubbles. Do you have something to say?
Bubs.
Oh, now she quiet.
Man.
So
Told you once the mics kick on, she kicks
She
it
show
up a
out.
notch. Yeah, she kicks it up a notch.
she's lost her bone somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've had an unusually long spurt of rain. We've been sitting in a drought for something like 8-9 years, and this is actually the first year that we've moved ourselves out of that drought state. Sorry, y'all. That's Bubbles. Everybody
Yeah.
say hi to Bubbles. It's that turkey that gets a height.
Yeah.
I think there's a little crack in that turkey. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so I'm sitting there with a bunch of girlfriends. One of my dear friends works at this winery. She set it up where we had a little table set up, separate access from the Saturday crowds of a winery. I mean, we really just had a really enjoyable day. But it was the first time we got some good sun. And everybody was trying to move the umbrella around and get themselves in the shade. And typically I'm the first one to do that too, because I don't like sun on my skin because I'm supremely weird about skincare. But that day,
plus you pale. So
no, I'm high yellow.
yeah.
So yeah. And now I do tan, I don't burn, but when you haven't had like a base coat, you got to be careful. And so I was just sitting out there, and I remember taking my sweater off, and everybody was like, you can move, and I was like, not like sitting and absorbing that sunshine, that helps. It elevates your mood. Sometimes you just have to just sit in the sun and just let the sun do what it does. There's a reason that people have that seasonal affective disorder, the SAD. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Too much time in the rain and the gray and the cold.
I would imagine that's for all those people up north,
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. So
All you folks in that Seattle area.
well, like I said, I lived in Nashville, and Nashville starting about mid-October till honestly like early May is just inundated with rain. And it can be really depressing to have that much of a stretch of like kind of shitty weather. It's cold, it's gray, it's rainy, it's impossible to get around, and it affects you. It'll put you in a headspace. And if you're a person who's already got a predisposition to depression and anxiety, which I do, it's tough. It's really tough. So moving here, this is the first year that we've had since I moved here. I've been here 9 years now. The first year I moved here, there was so much damn rain. I was like, y'all, nobody told me this about California. What the fuck? What's all this rain shit we're doing? I mean, it was literally raining every day.
Yeah, it's green for a reason.
I was so confused. And then, that was it. Then the next 7-8 years, it was bone dry.
Hot as
Hot as fuck. Holy God. I've never lived anywhere that sits at triple digits for 20-25 days straight.
Yeah.
Sacramento.
It usually doesn't do that. It usually gives us a good solid week or so of triple digits.
No, look, only 7 or so, as opposed to them 20 something.
Yeah. It was a little extra that year. So
we've had some unusual weather, but we could easily jump into a conversation about global warming, but we're not ready for all that just yet.
No.
It's like you kind of flirt with a little bit of political conversation, and then we're like, not yet, y'all. Not yet.
Nah.
We got to make y'all love us before you start to hate us.
Yeah. I really don't think the political thing is going to be something serious here at all.
Nah.
It's just, it's too heavy, too many people's, it's almost like talking religion. That's something that we
learned that in bartending.
Won't do.
Religion and politics are two things that you will never change. You really just don't change people's minds. I think people really think, well, if I just educate you, I can bring you to the side. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Really and truly, until something affects you personally, you ain't trying to hear somebody else's education, opinion. You're just not.
Right.
So it's just typically a conversation that I'm not gonna get into. Now, it's not like you won't know my stance, but
Right.
I'm not going to get into it.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
There's
Good.
Bubs. Yeah.
All right, girly.
And for me, it's like I really don't care what your stance is. My name's Alton. Your name's Lori. You have that right to have whatever stance you want. Whether you're whoever fan or a Trump fan or whatever, that's your right. And I'm always open to talk to anybody about that, but it just seems that nowadays it it gets into a lot of finger pointing and blaming and all this stuff. And
well, like I said earlier, you got a lot of keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people who are saying things that they would really probably never say to someone's face.
Right, exactly.
There's some sort of confidence boost in the anonymity of the internet, and it's created a really toxic environment for a lot of people. I'm really fortunate in that social media has kind of been my job for a few years, and so I'm very, very quick to cultivate a space that is healthy for me. But not everyone has that skill set, and a lot of people are forced to endure things that are really, they're triggering.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is
Actually,
sad.
It's
It is sad, especially given the major increase in suicides that you've seen since the dawn of social media. Just unusually higher spikes of it. I don't know if it's that you hear about it now or that it's happening more, but I can see where this access to people, because now we have this unlimited access to people, except people are lonelier than they've ever been.
Yeah, and it's amplified.
It's really
it's completely amplified.
It is. And you know what? That contributes to stress.
Yeah.
Frankly speaking.
It does.
It does.
It does.
But you know what's another thing that both of us like to do for stress to help with coping with it?
What?
Cooking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did he sound nervous, y'all?
No, I was just waiting. Sometimes you don't know what's going to come out of her mouth, so I'm like, okay, yeah. Cooking.
What you cooking? I was about to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Cooking. So, yeah, cooking. We both enjoy to cook. We actually
really enjoy cooking.
love cooking. We cook all the time. I'd say we've perfected a good half dozen recipes now, from just things that we said that, it'd be cool if we tried to make this. And then what ends up happening is we try to make it, and then we go, you know what? We can make that better.
We can make that shit better.
And so then the next time it comes out, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's it right there.
Let's add a little of this or tweak a little of that.
And then we end up doing it 3, 4, 5 times, and it's like, okay, we got that shit
And then
down.
all of a sudden, one day, we're like, this is the shit.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're good.
I should mention, for anybody who's confused, Alton and I are actually, we live in the same neighborhood. We're neighbors.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
When you've heard us talk about under Lori's sofa, under his sofa, we're neighbors. But close enough neighbors that we work together, and a lot of the times we end up being able to cook together.
Yeah, and it just works out that way.
It really does.
Basically, we have 2 families, and then it's kind of like, what you cooking? And it's like, oh, I'm cooking this. Oh, okay. Well, how about I throw this in with that? And we
do that a lot with breakfasts.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
Yeah.
So
cooking is a great way to kind of, it's similar to baking in that you obviously you need to be paying attention. You don't want to burn shit. Not as difficult in the sense that it's not quite so particular in the recipe. You miss an ingredient in baking and you might just find yourself assed out. But if you miss something in cooking, usually you can correct it in another space. And so we've really just, it shows in both our waistlines how much
I know.
how much we love cooking.
We didn't gain too much weight. It's like we need to settle this down a little bit.
We out here like fucking ratatouille and shit in this kitchen.
Yeah.
And nobody's jeans fit no more. But we eating good, y'all.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to give a big shout out to all the fellas out there who's cooking.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All the fellas out there who's throwing it down in the kitchen.
Yes.
All the dads who's making sure dinner's ready, all that good stuff.
That's right.
And, ain't trying to just keep it simple, but trying to throw a little spin on things.
Trying to make some shit.
I just want to give
nice shit on the table.
I want to give all y'all props, because the dads and fellas, honestly, they don't get enough attention and props as it is,
Well, that's because so many men are shit.
Well,
so
that's true too, but there's a lot of us that are pretty damn good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You lose. There's a weird narrative between the sexes, right? Where women are expected to do certain things, and then when a man does the same thing, here's just a simple example. And this is not. Let me go ahead and tell you, and I think Alton can attest to this. I am not a man hater. Like, I'm not one of those chicks that's like all dudes are garbage. Blah blah. No. What I'm saying, though, is that there are a lot of trash men. Yes, there are also a lot of fucking trash women with the goddamn Me Too people.
I was going to throw that in there.
It's just amazing to me how quickly people got to throw in, but what about so-and-so? Yeah, obviously. But that's not what we're talking about in this moment. We are talking about the fact that there are a lot of fucking trash men. But I feel like we're on this kind of chain. There's this wave happening, right? Because men are starting to be given permission to be more emotional. Men are starting to be given permission to be more physically relaxed. You know, it's not all, I'm the man, I'm the protector.
Human.
Yes,
we're
you know,
human.
For years we had this idea of these two roles that men and women were supposed to have. And I'm not arguing anyone's traditional values. So please pump the brakes before you think that's what I'm saying.
Put the gun away.
What I'm saying is that when you put everybody in two boxes, the people who don't fit in those boxes, they feel like they don't belong, right? They feel like they don't fit in. And I think we're getting to a time where we're allowing people to have the space to be themselves, even if it doesn't fit in a box.
Yeah.
And to me, I love the idea of men being more emotional, feeling more in touch with their feelings. I love seeing men be more affectionate with their children, because you usually would see it that the mom is the one that the kid goes to.
Right.
So fuck yeah to men who are in the kitchen getting their damn chef on, you know, out there like doing something better than grilling up fucking burgers alone. Which, don't get me wrong, if you grill them bitches and they fire, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, you know, I respect that the roles are shifting. And that doesn't mean that if you're a person who believes this is the way a man should be and you find yourself a woman who agrees, that y'all are wrong either. It just means that we can stop with this idea that everything is just this one way. That's what I'm saying.
That it's not just black and white.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
There's a lot of gray in there.
And, you know, we're starting to see that people are calling men out on things like catcalling. You know what I'm saying? That shit is bullshit.
Yeah.
We can all sit around here. The people, I think a little bit of the old school crowd likes that idea. Oh, I'm just saying hello. I'm just saying what's up.
Right.
No, it's fucking
disrespectful.
It is. It's disrespectful. Yep. And what I always tell people who say anything to me, would you allow somebody to do it to your daughter?
It's the bottom line.
That's it.
If you cool with it to be said and done to your daughter, well, then you special.
That's right.
You know, because any man I know who has a daughter, they want nothing but the best, and they're the protector. You know, they're the protector, period.
To bring it back real quick to the Michael Jackson conversation that we had once upon a time, ooh, I've shut down a whole lot of conversations about Michael Jackson with one simple question. Would you let your son sleep with him? Then shut the fuck up now.
Yeah.
So on that note, I really, really think that instead of just going with your initial feelings of, you know, this is right, this is wrong, this is what I believe, if you just sit back and you say to yourself, but what if it was my child? Yeah. I feel like so many of us would calm the fuck down with these sort of extremes that we're all struggling with. It seems. I mean, shit, if you believe your Facebook feed, everybody's intense as fuck about things, right?
Yeah. One of the things I'm going to say about our podcast. Okay. Our podcast in general, when we go into a podcast, we have
a general idea,
an agenda. We have an agenda.
Yes.
And that agenda we always hit, right?
Yes.
But the thing about that agenda is it never holds us to that agenda. So we'll start talking about, you know, stress and what we do to relax. And next thing you know, it's Michael Jackson, right?
That's right.
And that's because, you know, we don't practice anything here. We get to flowing with what's what. And then if something comes up, we're going to touch on it.
That's real life.
And yeah,
that's real conversations.
We're going to touch on it. So I don't want you guys to think Bubbles, come on now.
Bubbles has an opinion about all this.
She does. What's your opinion?
Do you believe Michael Jackson is guilty, Bubbles? Now she's quiet. Now she's shy.
But anyways, my point is we kind of we veer off to the left, we veer off to the right, we kind of come back here into the center.
It's important to note that Alton and I are. There she is.
There she is. She's back.
Alton and I are two regular, degular, schmegular fucking people, okay?
Yep.
Neither of us is a life counselor, a therapist. Neither of us has perfected any motherfucking one thing in life. I might be pretty goddamn close when it comes to cookie making. But no one's made any perfect anything, okay? We come through our lives with all of the scrapes and the bruises and the baggage of anybody else. But what we do is we do try to apply humor and logic to everything that we do. That's where we try to stay.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is we say what a lot of people think.
That's right.
So, a lot of you will sit there and hear what we say, and some of you have even told us you're kind of shocked at what's being said, but
mostly it's my cursing. Let's keep it real.
Well, but the truth is, we now have a venue where we can express ourselves and say what we think needs to be said. Really say what's in the back of your mind. Some of those things that you probably wouldn't say. But, that's what we do because everything fucking sucks.
Everything fucking sucks. Now, before we roll out, what we've been failing to do that we need to return to doing is adding the balance in all this, because there's a lot of irony in our joking, talking about everything fucking sucks. Because clearly we just went through a whole phase of how everyday stresses are difficult to deal with, but you have to look for the positives. You have to look for the spaces to find relaxation and comfort and relief. But we also wanted to make sure we tempered it all with something positive.
Yes.
And I came across something positive by mistake this weekend at the winery.
Okay.
So a lot of the new ways of doing things in local breweries and wineries is that obviously they don't typically have like hot food there. Mm-hmm. And if you drink, you need to put in something in your belly. So food trucks have turned into, kind of the thing, or pop-ups. And so I was at a local winery this weekend called Rendezvous. My beautiful friend Vanessa hosted us, like I said earlier. It's inside of the Sugar Mill Wineries out in Clarksburg, which is one of the lucky situations for us Northern California folk. We're in wine country.
And he owned Menage a Trois.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So, the owner of Rendezvous used to own Menage a Trois wineries, and so they had a pop up with a spot called Hot Chicken. Hot Chicken is a woman-owned business. I believe the owner's name is Misty, if I'm not mistaken. And let me tell you something. She's got this awesome spin on chicken and waffles. They do this boneless, skinless fried chicken, fried perfectly, and they throw it in these waffle cones. And when I say waffle cones, I don't mean your soft waffle. I mean almost like your ice cream cone. It's like crisp.
Crispy, yeah.
And it holds up, so the hot chicken doesn't make it mushy. And she's got all these different sauces, awesome sauces. You can get I think up to 3 of them inside each cone. Excuse me, I just almost had to hiccup. And here's what makes her business from bomb-ass fried chicken to exceptional. And this is our positive for the week. She employs people from the City of Refuge, Sacramento, which is a company. It's a nonprofit company. Their logo here says, returning dignity, restoring lives, and rebuilding communities. Essentially what they're doing is they're doing the homeless to working to getting people back on their feet, welfare to work. And they're taking these people who probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to work in these locations and giving them training skills and work skills and teaching them a different way of life. So when you come at me and you're like, hey, I'm a lady-owned business and I have this mission to do right by folks, plus the food is bomb, listen.
Winner. Chicken dinner.
So shout out to Misty and her crew, who is just doing awesome shit. I hear that I heard that they're going to get a brick and mortar location here soon, which
Sweet.
is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But they will be, if you're a Sacramento person listening, they'll be at Bottle and Barlow this coming weekend, the 30th. So check them out. Go show love, give support. We are all about people doing good shit in their community, and extra props because I found out today she's a Brooklyn girl. So, hey.
Right on.
So that's it. This is it. This is the way we want you guys to understand what we're doing here. No one here is a professional anything. We're real people trying to inject some coping and some humor into what can be, tough. It can be tough, especially the older you get, the harder it is.
Yeah, and give you a little bit of our own life experiences.
Yeah.
Both of us have been through enough shit for probably a dozen people, so no reason for all of y'all to go through it too. So, we're just sharing a little bit of our own experience, and hopefully that can help you guys too.
That's right.
With that positive, I'm going to say thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode.
Hey.
We'll have another one for you here pretty soon, and just let you know, soon we will be doing the Facebook Live.
Oh, yeah.
Soon, yeah, she ain't about that video thing. Soon we will have some guest speakers of locally owned businesses.
We working on some stuff for
yeah,
y'all.
yeah. It's coming, y'all. And it won't be what you think it is. I'm just going to tell you that now.
That's right.
It's something Lori and I have discussed. We're not here to. We don't want to put people on just to do nothing but boost their business.
Well, we don't want to exploit what they're known for. One of the things that I think Alton and I do really, really well is that I used to call it emotional scab picking, but I don't think it's that. I think that one of the things that we both do well is the ability to kind of see past your general packaging. Right? And get to know something on a different level.
Right.
And so some of these guest speakers that we're lining up, you might know them from some things, but that's not what we're bringing them on here to talk about.
No.
And we're excited about that.
We're going to talk about random shit,
That's right.
and get their take on it.
We got to know what fucking sucks in their life.
Right. And where the positives are.
That's right.
Right.
I mean, for some of them, you're going to know what those positives are, but it's a way of kind of leveling that playing field when you see somebody who might be incredibly successful and you think, oh, they're living a charmed life. They're normal people. We're all normal people.
Right.
We're all going through it.
They have ups and downs just like us.
That's right.
So
don't forget, hit us up on Facebook, contribute to the conversation. And if you have any suggestions for topics, let us know.
Please let us know. Lori's going to update the Facebook page.
Yes, she is.
With all the links for
all of the ways you
Google
can listen.
Podcasts, Spotify,
That's right.
Everything that we got approved for. Y'all can check us out. Please share us.
Share
it to everybody you know. Give us an opportunity to put some smiles on faces.
We want to grow too, y'all, not just our asses.
That's already happening. So, anywho, that's about that. Love you.
We'll talk to you next week.
Peace.
Bye.